Hey, what's up, y'all? In this video, we're going to be talking about how to create a vision statement for a church, and I'm going to share with you 3 of my favorite examples that you're going to want to check out, and I'm going to show you exactly how to create a vision statement for your church. Coming up. Hey, what's up? Welcome back, y'all. My name's Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the 5-step formula for how to create your vision statement, or as I like to call it, your manifesto. All right, so before we dive into a couple of examples, I want you to remember these 4 things whenever you're creating a vision statement or a manifesto. All right, number 1, make it simple. Number 2, make it personal. Number 3, make it achievable. And finally, number 4, make it inspiring. Okay, let's dive in and take a look at a couple of examples. All right, so let's dive into a 5-step formula for how to create a vision statement for your church. Number 1, you want to start by defining the purpose of your church. So why is it that you exist? So it needs to be more thought-provoking than just surface level answers, right? So while yes, we have the Great Commission, and yes, we do want to make disciples, let's try to go a little bit deeper about exactly what it is that we're trying to create and exactly what it is that we're trying to achieve at our church. All right, so this first example, I'm actually going to share with you a few lines from my own personal manifesto for my church. I wrote this because I wanted to define my purpose and why our organization exists, and I wanted to be able to share that not only with our partner churches, but also with our new employees as we're bringing people on and teaching them our culture. I wanted them to understand and define the purpose for why we exist and to understand the movement that they're buying into. So let's take a look. We believe that the local church is the hope of the world. We believe that Jesus didn't die to keep us safe, he died to make us dangerous. We believe that we have a God-given mandate to change the way that church leaders think and completely disrupt the church world with new and innovative ways of reaching people with the message of Jesus. We believe we are called to completely change the way ministry is done, that it's up to us to change the world. So what I was really looking to do here was express a little bit about why we exist, kind of our purpose, and exactly what my vision is for the business. Notice that I didn't get too specific on some of the things that we're talking about. What we're really trying to do is cast a little bit of vision, right? I'm literally trying to repel the wrong people, right? Because the type of people that I would want to partner with, the type of people I'd want to hire and do ministry with, are probably going to be turned off by how strong this statement is, right? But that's just a reflection of how it reflects my personality and the purpose of my business. And your church should do the same thing. So it shouldn't be something that every single person is attracted to. It should be a little bit of a strong statement that is going to go deep, not just service level, but deeper into your purpose and why your church exists. All right, so let's take a look at another one. This one is from Life Church and Pastor Craig Rochelle. If you're not familiar with Pastor Craig, they actually have 30 campuses and over 100,000 people in their church all throughout the U.S. So let's take a look at their vision statement, which they call the code. We are faith-filled, big-thinking, bet-the-farm risk-takers. We'll never insult God with small thinking and safe living. We are all about the capital C church. The local church is the hope of the world, and we know we can accomplish infinitely more together than apart. We give up things we love for things we love even more. It's an honor to sacrifice for Christ and his church. Now, they have 10 of these, and I just shared with you just the first 3, but I think it's definitely worth reading, so you can actually go out there and you can Google it if you'd like to see the rest of it. It's the code from Life Church. But what I love about it is Pastor Craig has literally taken all of the core values that make up Life Church, and he's infused them into this vision statement, this code. And he now talks about how this code helps to shape everything that they do at the church. Everything runs through the code. And I think that's really, really important. They've defined why they exist. They found their core values and the things that are important to them, and then they put those statements into catchy, portable statements that they can easily teach to their church, and then people can catch the vision simply by reading it. All right, so number 2, you want to come up with a list of core values. So you saw what Pastor Craig did with Life Church and some of his, right? So figure out what are some of the core values that you have, that you love, that are kind of make up who you are. Maybe it's, integrity, loyalty, honesty, right? Generosity, whatever those things are. Come up with a list of 5 to 7 of your favorite core values, which you think kind of define who you are and who you are as a church. Now, I can think of no better example than this than to actually share some of the vision statement from the Navy SEALs, which they call the Navy SEALs ethos. I serve with honor on and off the battlefield. The ability to control my emotions and my actions regardless of circumstance sets me apart from others. Uncompromising integrity is my standard. My character and honor are steadfast. My word is my bond. We expect to lead and be led. In the absence of orders, I will take charge, lead my teammates, and accomplish the mission. I lead by example in all situations. I will never quit. I persevere and thrive on adversity. My nation expects me to be physically harder and mentally stronger than my enemies. If knocked down, I will get back up every time. I will draw on every remaining ounce of strength to protect my teammates and to accomplish our mission. I am never out of the fight. So one of my favorite things about this is you can literally see their core values in there, right? Uncompromising integrity, character, and honor. My word is my bond. As a leader, this speaks to me because it not only talks about their core values, but inspires you to be better. It inspires you to action, right? They talk about country, they talk about their teammates, they talk about never being out of the fight, and if you get knocked down, you'll get back up. I love how they're infusing their culture into this manifesto. All right, so number 3, figure out what makes you different. I think this is something that churches often overlook, right? You want to figure out, man, what is it that makes you different completely from everybody else? Is there something about your church that you can say that's true of you and nobody else? So, for example, I was sharing this with a friend of mine who planted a church in Tulsa a couple of years ago, right? And so I kept asking him, okay, Ronnie, what's going to make this church different? He said, well, we're going to preach the unadulterated, unfiltered word of God. I said, great. So does everybody else, right? Well, he's like, no, not everybody does. I was like, yeah, but everybody thinks they do, right? So that doesn't work. He said, well, we're going to have some of the best and most intimate worship on the face of the planet. I said, awesome. Everybody does, right? Now, I know not everybody does, but everybody thinks they do, right? And when somebody is out there and they're looking for a church, having good worship and preaching the word is a given, right? They assume that everyone's going to do that. So what can you say about your church that makes it different? And so we literally spent several nights at IHOP until 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning talking about what can make Audacity Church different. And so after going through Pastor Ronnie's core values and what he believed, we realized that one of the things that he believed above all else was that we shouldn't just meet as a church, but we should be the church. Right? So we took that idea and we created Fifth Sunday. So every time there's a fifth Sunday in a month, Audacity, instead of meeting as a church on Sunday morning, they actually shut down and they go out into the city and they become the church. Right? So they'll go serve at a homeless shelter, or they'll go build houses for people that can't afford it, or they'll go clean up neighborhoods, right? They'll go out and they'll serve the city and be the church. And so this is something that's completely different. I don't know of any other church in the world that actually does this. It took a little while to get there, but once we figured out his purpose, once we wrote down his core values, we found out what makes him different from every other church. And now, years later, this is one of the pillars that makes Audacity Church who they are. They don't just believe in meeting as a church, they believe in actually stepping up and being the church. So figure out what makes you different, something that makes you the only person in the world that does it, and then go all in on that thing. All right, a couple more from Life Church's code, right? They say, we wholeheartedly reject the label megachurch. We are a micro church with a mega vision. I love this one because, to my knowledge, they are the largest church in North America. I mean, 100,000 people spread out across 30 campuses. That is the definition of a megachurch, right? But I love that they reject that label and say, hey, we're a micro church with a mega vision, and everything they do is get smaller in order to get bigger. I also love that they took time to talk about fun too. All right, so part of the code says we will laugh hard, loud, and often. Nothing is more fun than serving God with people you love. Right? I love that because I think most churches would probably overlook that. I know I have in the past, right? But they actually took time because Pastor Greg said, man, this is something that's important to me, is that we do life together and that we're laughing hard, loud, and often, because nothing is more fun than serving Jesus with your friends. I love that. So before I get to my last couple of points, if you know someone who is planning a church, or maybe they're trying to write a vision statement, would you share this video with them? All right, number 4, don't be too specific. Now, the reason this one is important is because it's easy to kind of go all in on some of the specifics of our church, but as things continue to grow over the years, some of the things we do now are not things that we may do in the future. So, for example, at my church, one of the things that we did that kind of made us who we are and helped us grow the church in the early years was a motorcycle rally. Right? And so if we had put that into our manifesto or into our vision statement, that may have pigeonholed us down the road. Because a couple of years ago, we realized that at the time when we first started doing this in the 90s, it was super revolutionary. It was very innovative. There was no such thing as a church doing a motorcycle rally. And we would reach thousands of bikers and hundreds of them would get saved every single year during the motorcycle rally. But as the years went on, this became almost common practice, at least for churches in our area. A lot of churches started doing motorcycle rallies, and a lot of Christian organizations started doing motorcycle rallies. And the demographics of our church tended to shifted because a lot of those guys who used to be hardcore bikers were now married and had kids. And so our church kind of morphed into more of a family church. So it's important not to get too specific in your vision statement because you want to leave the flexibility and leave room for your church to grow and be able to shift as the years go on. All right, and number 5, make it actionable. So you want to be inspiring, you want to have your core values infused in there, you want to figure out your purpose, but one of the most important things of a really good vision statement is to make it actionable, right? So it should actually call people to action, right? The Navy SEALs one does that so well. All right, so listen to the last 2 paragraphs of the Navy SEALs ethos. We train for war and fight to win. I stand ready to bring the full spectrum of combat power to bear in order to achieve my mission and the goals established by my country. The execution of my duties will be swift and violent when required, yet guided by the very principles that I serve to defend. Brave SEALs have fought and died, building the proud tradition and feared reputation that I am bound to uphold. In the worst of conditions, the legacy of my teammates steadies my resolve and silently guides my every deed. I will not fail. So what I love about this is it's actionable and it helps guide the actions of every single Navy SEAL moving forward. And finally, I'll share a couple of actionable items from my own vision statement. We believe that it's only at the edge of our ability that we begin to expand our capacity. So we constantly push the boundaries of what's possible and take new ground and never retreat, never surrender. We believe that if you want to take the island, then you have to burn the boats. We believe that waiting is for cowards and that the only way to get things done is ready, fire, aim. We believe in having a spirit of innovation and adventure, that we are called to dream big and live dangerously. We believe that the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who actually do. All right, so I'm so excited to be able to share some of these examples with you. I hope you found them as powerful and inspiring as I did. And if you want to learn more about how you can grow your church and use things like social media and technology to grow your church, then click on the link in the description below or head on over to churchgrowthagency.com and check out the free video we have there.